It took significantly less time than I expected, but Leeds United have their first significant link of the summer, at least to players. We already know about the whole Red Bull thing. We know that Leeds United need to do a hell of a lot of recruitment, but we don't necessarily need to purchase players. The loan market could be absolutely huge, and that is where we are looking for this first link, the first connection to a potential signing, because the Whites are interested in a move for Alfie Gilchrist. So, you might be asking, because I was at first, who is Alfie Gilchrist? He's a very, very young player. He is currently at Chelsea and he is just 20 years of age. That means that he's very, very young, still developing, but I think he's got plenty of talent behind him. I'll explain why in a little bit further down the line. But he's someone that can play at both centre back and at right back. Not only that, but he's made a series of appearances for Chelsea already. I think he has something like 17 senior appearances for Chelsea, 11 of them in the league. So very clearly, he's someone that is already trusted to be in and around the squad in the Premier League when they were pushing for Europe. So, of course, them shopping around for a loan deal is just making sure that he gets more senior football, he can develop fully and become the player that Chelsea want him to be going forwards, or in the typical Chelsea way, can grow in terms of skills and become a more saleable asset. That's very Chelsea, let's be honest. But that left me with a quick question of why exactly do we need him? You look at players at the moment and you think, okay, so we very probably need to strengthen the squad. We don't know exactly where, we don't know exactly who. So this sort of narrows down both the where and the who. And it's pretty easy to see why we've gone with Gilchrist as the main sort of option idea. First, you need to think about our options. Think about the existing squad and think about where we are having some trouble. So, first up, centre back. Looking through all of the centre backs that are at Leeds United right now, I had a little bit of a moment. Joe Rodon, on loan, potentially going back to Spurs at the end of the season. We don't know if he'll make that move permanent, so there is absolutely no certainty there. He was our best centre back last season. We might not have him. We will probably need to replace him in some way, shape, or form. But in addition to that, we're also losing Liam Cooper. Probably. Again, we don't have any certainty on this, and this lack of certainty in the centre-back position means that making moves is going to be an absolute must early in the window so we can get like a properly solidified first-choice centre-back pairing and build on that for the rest of the season. In addition to that, Charlie Cresswell is also out of favour, clearly not liked that much by Daniel Farke. Whether it's attitude stuff, whether he's not at the level, we need to accept that he's not someone that Daniel Farke is likely to be picking for games. So signing around him and making sure that we have some depth in that position is going to be absolutely essential. Add on to that, Ethan Ampadu, in my opinion, is not actually a centre-back. I really like him in midfield, playing those long, strafing balls that Glenn Kamara and Ilya Gruev don't really do. He did it a little bit from centre-back, but it's more useful to have that higher up the pitch. So, for example, that Patrick Bamford goal, we always forget that it came from a fantastic Ethan Ampadu assist. Having him in midfield is a must, and that means having centre-back, so he's not forced back into that role. And we do have one more senior centre-back at the club, and it's Pascal Struijk, who is fairly injury-prone, and I don't know if we can rely on to say, you are our first-choice centre-back, you will be our first-choice centre-back, and you can play every single match this season. I don't know if Pascal Struijk is in that position right now, so it's a little bit more sensible to say, we'll take our time, we'll sign some players, and if you're fit, fantastic, earn your way into the squad. Outside of that, we've also got someone else that can play in that position in the form of Diego Llorente and Max Fuba, but let's be honest, none of us want them back. Being realistic. They forced their way out, we don't want them. Toxic relationship, let's not have those players. He can also play at right back, and I've done the same sort of breakdown for this as well. Sam Byram only had a one-year contract, and we don't know if that's getting extended. At the time of recording, the retained list isn't out yet, which makes that a little bit of a struggle to sort of say either way. Add on to that, our most consistent right back this season, Archie Gray, needs more minutes in midfield. It feels like that's where he can be most good in the future in terms of his potential, but if he's playing all of his minutes at right back, he's not really going to develop there. And Connor Roberts, we need to remember, is only a loanee. He's not someone that we've got on a permanent basis, and whilst in January he might have made some noises that said that he wants to move to Leeds permanently, I don't know if that's going to happen because we don't know what fee Burnley could try and command. Admittedly, they're in the Championship, so maybe not that much, but it's a tough one to try and sort of force through and say we can rely on him. In addition to that, Gilchrist not only adds depth, but he adds plenty of quality. He's someone that has played a lot of football for Chelsea, and there's a reason that us and Preston and I think Blackburn were all sniffing around him because he's a very, very good footballer with a very high ceiling. And I feel like a season under Daniel Farke could be absolutely spectacular for him because we have a little bit of a youth development history at Leeds United. We're really good at bringing through very young footballers, admittedly from an academy age rather than on loan, but turning young players into first teamers. Everyone says that we didn't give Mateo Joseph enough of a chance last season, and yeah, maybe he could have had more minutes. But at the same time, we've got such a young squad, with Ruter doing shit all in the Premier League and then being an assist machine in the Championship, Somerville not breaking out until last season, and Archie Gray not playing a single minute before being one of our pivotal players. That's the perfect environment for a youth player to come into and say, look, I know that you can help me develop. Let's do it. And being in such a young squad is also really good for the mentality because you feel like, okay, everyone around me is in the same boat. It's a good spot to be in. Add on to that the fact that he's consistently in Chelsea's Premier League squad, I would have absolutely no problem with us signing Alfie Gilchrist. And this brings me to the wider point of the loan market. In my opinion, the loan market will be Leeds United's strongest. Sorry, I've got hiccups, and that is really, really painful at this point, like physically. But the loan market could be our strongest ally this summer by a comfortable margin. It's absolutely perfect for filling gaps in the squad. It makes sure that we can look into the league above and say, if you're not likely to get minutes, would you like to play some football here, potentially become a cult hero if we do go up, and then you can go back or you can stay permanently. It's a good market for us to be in, and it removes the need for heavy investment. We don't want to go out and say if we'd permanently signed Jaden Anthony last season only to find out we didn't use him. That's a big outlay for a player that we don't necessarily know if it's worth the while to have. So being able to take players on loan first, and it's basically a try before you buy system, and fill the gaps in the squad short term, means that you're more flexible in the long term, which I think is very wise. And it's why, in my opinion, we will see plenty of loan incomings throughout this summer. And the winter, obviously, unless we've used up all the loan slots. I think you can fit 5 loan players in a matchday squad. Not 100% sure, but that number sounds and feels right from the fact I've been screwed over by Football Manager enough times. Ultimately, I think that Alfie Gilchrist is one hell of a shout. If we were to sign him, that would be the absolutely perfect way forwards and kick off this transfer window on a very optimistic note that shows that we've got a lot of ambition and we are absolutely pushing for promotion this time, which I know we are, but we need to make the right signings to make it happen. But ultimately, I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe whilst you're down there. Be much appreciated. Like the video if you enjoyed, and even become a channel member. All that money is going to Prostate Cancer UK at the moment. I've got an announcement on that charity walk coming very, very shortly. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Ampadu was a Chelsea youngster as well, wasn't he? Be like having 2 Ampadus. That's insane.